And welcome back to Shadow the Apple, episode 26. And Ryan, we have been absent for a little bit,
Yep.
and we have come back to an absolute. What have we come back to? We have come back to a whole lot. A whole lot has happened, Ryan, since we have last done an episode. And I mean, I wanted to go live on Saturday night when everything happened, but we're here now. And now that the bombs have been dropped, and we can look at the remains of what the hell has happened.
Well, first of all, I don't think it's over. I think there's gonna be much more movement, many more trades over the next few hours. The last half hour is always the craziest with buzzer beaters and stuff. So that'll be very interesting to look at in the future. You'll be able to talk about that. But yeah, for now, there's a lot that has happened over the last few days, and especially this morning. There's just been so much. It feels like every 10 minutes something's happening. So there's a lot of that to talk about, and of course, there's the games, the Yankees and the Mets. But that's definitely not the most important thing going on right now. But
Well, it's interesting because I texted you maybe like a few hours before all the trades started happening. And I texted you, I was like, why have there been like no trades?
yeah,
Like it took a while. Like, teams really were waiting until like the last like 2, 3 days to make trades.
yeah, it's usually how it works. I'm honestly surprised that so much has happened the last 2 days. It feels like a lot always takes a lot of it always waits until like the last few hours of the deadline. But it definitely feels like this year a lot of teams were just waiting for the Scooble trade to happen to see how they were gonna be able to plan the rest of their deadline.
We all
That's
knew he was going
obviously.
to be a Dodger, though.
Yeah, but you still have to wait. You still have to see. I mean, the Yankees, the Brewers, the Rays were all apparently in it until late. Although it does not feel that way. And look at the package that the Tigers got back. It doesn't really look like there was much competition there. So
I, I,
there's that to talk about.
I think the worst thing to come out of this trade is not even the fact that the Dodgers got him. It's the fact that we learned that really nobody tried to go for him besides, like, from what I saw, Philly was the only team I saw.
Yeah, I mean, it does really feel like I don't think he has a specific no trade clause in his contract. I don't think he could have declined to trade anywhere, but it really does feel like, based on the way everyone's speaking about it, around the situation, that he really wanted to go to LA, and the Tigers wanted to respect his wish. And they had their back against the wall. They kind of had to take an offer they maybe didn't really want to accept, but knowing they had to accept something. So any team that was in it didn't really have a chance. It feels like. I mean, you look back at last offseason, the when the Tigers and Yankees talked about the possibility of trading Skubal to New York, they wanted Cam Schlittler, Ben Rice, and number one prospect George Lombard Jr., which is miles, miles, miles of a better return than what they actually got now from the Dodgers. So it's a little weird, the situation, but it does really feel like he wanted to be in LA. And yeah, it feels like no one really had a chance, to be honest.
Yeah, it genuinely disgusts me that no one decided to go for him. And it also pissed me off that Jeff Passan, when they broke the news, didn't say who it was at first. Because he dropped it and I was like, "Oh god, it's there's no way like, who is it?" Like, but like I also like I asked myself who is it, but at the same time I knew the answer because there just was no one. There was no one else that was going to make the move for him. And the fact that that belief was true annoys me because the fact that no one else wants to compete, no one else wants to even try. And the part that annoys me too is that the Phillies, I'm pretty sure that, like, their prospects that they were willing to give up for Sarek Skubal, and I think the Yankees too, when I think they tried trading for him maybe back then, back in like January, and they were asking way more. Like the return for Tarek Skubal was that got good.
No,
And
it really wasn't at all.
the fact that the Tigers are, I've never seen a franchise handle giving up a franchise player so poorly in such a long time. The way they gave up, the way everything dealt, the way everything was handled with Tarek Skubal from 20 from last year up until now has been terrible. Like everything from last offseason with the qualifying offer and the arbitration, everything that happened with that, all that mess, and still ended up with them. And the fact that we are here, sitting here, after everything that happened with the Tigers, after all the drama, how they really disrespected Tarek Skubal and really seemed like they didn't value him, the fact that they weren't willing to open the bank for him, like, dog, he, like, his playoff numbers were insane. He may not have been the reason they won the game because they a lot of in the playoffs, they didn't win. They didn't win the 2 games against the Mariners in his starts, but they weren't the reason that they lost. They were probably the reason why they stayed in those games because he was just that good.
Yeah, for sure. And the timeline leading up to the trade, maybe half hour, an hour or so, it's honestly hilarious to look at. I mean, at first, reports were coming out that not the Dodgers, the Tigers were asking for a package that included 2 major league players, 2 minor league players, and a starting pitcher. So that's 4 or 5 players, depending on if the starting pitcher would be one of those. And then there were some talks, that a lot of teams were in it. It really felt like to the last minute, from what I kept seeing, that it was the Dodgers, the Brewers, the Yankees, and the Rays, the Phillies, and some other teams were kind of on the outside, still just trying to see what was going on. And they even, there was even more reports that came out on the Yankee side that the Tigers weren't even asking for George Lombard Jr. This is a back-to-back Cy Young Award winner, and they're not even asking for your number one prospect. It's extremely hard for me to believe that the Yankees didn't at least put an offer that competed with what the Dodgers gave.
Dude, I don't care if you're a small market franchise or not. If you have a franchise player that can single-handedly win you games, win you playoff games, keep you in playoff games, you pay the man. The fact that they were never willing to pay him, obviously, I know it's a little off track from the actual trade, but the fact that we even got to this point is insane. Like, I can't believe they weren't willing to keep him, like, genuinely.
I think
Like,
this is a much bigger issue than what the Dodgers are doing. People love to complain about the Dodgers going out and buying championships and all this stuff, but the bigger issue is the small market teams who aren't keeping their homegrown players. I mean, what do
yeah,
you expect to happen? We need we need these teams to be more competitive. I mean, it's not like they're not making money. They have fans in their stadiums. Every single time Scuba pitched, the stadium was probably packed. So
yeah.
it just doesn't make sense
And the
as to
Tigers
why.
they've been in back-to-back playoffs.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense why it felt like. Of course, I'm sure there was, but it just felt like there wasn't serious enough consideration on the Tigers side to even try and hold on to him and bring him back at the end of this year or even extend him.
From like a general manager, from a financial, like trying to like re-sign him on a contract. Like, that part baffles me. That from what we saw on our end, from honestly from what we saw last offseason, they didn't give the vibe that they wanted to pay him.
Yeah,
So I mean, and I'm trying to think, they gave Framber Valdez a fucking good ass contract. Remember?
yeah, that was definitely an overpay on their part too. So yeah, that's another good point to bring up. I mean, they tried building. I felt like they tried building a rotation around him for this season. It didn't work out. He ended up getting
Yeah,
injured. They're obviously selling now, or at least they traded him. Maybe they'll try and stake into a wild card spot still, but I mean, I don't
Hey, look,
know what that
the-
does for you because you don't have your back-to-back Cy Young Award winning ace to win you game one.
yeah, that is very true. Remember, they did sell at the deadline in 2024, and they ended up making the playoffs. So we could see it again.
For sure.
But the big difference in that team 2 years ago is that they had Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what will help you if you even do, because Justin Verlander's like 50, bro. Met legend.
Yeah, and back to the whole package thing, what they were asking, what they ended up getting. That's what makes a lot of people think that they kind of had their back against the wall and kind of had to accept what the Dodgers were offering because what they got was significantly lower than their asking price, and their asking price wasn't too crazy considering who we're talking about. But I mean, one of the three players they ended up getting back was a 27-year-old pitcher. This guy's
Yes,
this guy's
I saw
a
that.
few months older than Juan Soto. It's kind of confusing. I mean,
Like the package is, you could argue Freddie Peralta had a better package.
yeah, I mean, of course there's always the quantity over quality conversation. Of course, I would prefer quality over quantity when it comes to trades. But I
Yes.
mean, the Yankees gave up more names to acquire Luis Garcia Jr., which is something we'll get into in a little bit. Of course, names weren't as big, but still, it's just really, it's really an interesting situation. But it really did feel like everybody else was just waiting for that deal to be done to figure out how they should plan the rest of their deadline.
The question is, do we see Luke Weaver getting traded back to the Yankees?
That's a good question. Personally, I would love to see that. He was a great Yankee. The end of his 2025 wasn't the best, but he was dealing with injuries. I think it would be fun. It would be cool. He would definitely help the team. But the question is, are the two teams willing to make a deal? We just saw the Mets make a deal with the Phillies, so
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like they're avoiding making deals with helping out basically their rivals in
Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. David Stearns is into getting cucked now, I see. So that's nice. So
I
we
mean, listen, as long as it helps you, I don't really see an issue with it. We
got,
just saw the
yeah.
Orioles do the same thing with the Red Sox. I'm not sure if that was confirmed yet, but it looks like it's very close if not. So, I mean, yeah, it happens. It could happen. But back to Weaver, I mean, I don't see, even on the Yankees' part, that making that trade, though, because it would take a lot for the organization to kind of admit that it's basically they're just admitting that they were wrong to not bring him back, and they'd end up just be giving up prospect capital for a guy that they could have just signed a few months ago. So it's definitely that part of it, but the
Hey,
the price will be very high for multiple reasons. I mean, he's a good reliever. The reliever market isn't that strong. There's not that many names out there, especially left, and not lefty. I mean, like left as of now, and there's always the Yankees tax. So with all those considered, it'll cost a little bit, but I would like to see it happen if the price is right.
yeah. I mean, I could see him on the Yankees. I could honestly see him on Tampa. I can just picture him in a Rays jersey. So I could definitely see him on Tampa. Like a lot of these teams, like that have already really good pitching staffs. Um, a team that definitely could use a bullpen help. I mean, the Yankees, their bullpen's been a little shaky this year. So
Yeah, it's been a little inconsistent. They've definitely gone on. I keep talking about how going into the season it was looked at as their biggest weakness, and rightfully so. But a lot of names definitely picked up a lot of slack. Um, and yeah, I mean, they were doing pretty well. The last series or two been a little shaky, two extra inning games. Fernando Cruz specifically has lost his own a little bit in his last few times out. But I'm not worried about him at all. Um, yeah, but it's also the Yankees. Another thing I guess we'll get into when we talk more about team specific trades. The Yankees traded away Camilo Doval and Jake Bird, two of the relievers who've pitched a decent amount of innings this year for this team, who had really high ERAs, weren't that great. Both were acquired at last year's deadline. Just a year later, they're gone. So that definitely shows that the team knows they have to improve the bullpen a little bit. And, if one or two high end arms could definitely go a really long way.
I heard a report that Will Warren was trying to, well, the Yankees were trying to ship Will Warren to the Padres, and the Padres rejected it.
Yeah, for Adrian Morejon, I saw that too at the time, and I was like, that is. I didn't believe it, honestly, at first, because it just. Why would you not make that trade if you're the Padres? Why would you not accept that? It was apparently Warren and another prospect for Morejon, and it just didn't make sense because this is a rental reliever. You're for like 4+ years of a major league starter plus a prospect. The trade didn't make sense for the Padres to decline that. But then it came out last night or early this morning that that was actually false. Whoever reported on that got that wrong. That trade was never that never even happened. Apparently, either it was reversed and the Yankees said no, or it just never happened. So it was a really weird situation. Um, I don't really know honestly what was going on there. I don't know how you get a report like that wrong at this point at the deadline, but I mean, yeah, I'm personally glad that that didn't happen because Will Warren's definitely a name who he's been really shaky this year for the Yankees. His last start was really great, which we'll talk about, I guess, when we do our quick recaps at some point. But um, yeah, I mean, he has a lot of years left. He's a young starting pitcher who 100% could be used in a different trade for like a bigger return. So it was a weird situation.
Yeah, it was. So the deadline is technically today, right?
Yeah, today at 6 p.m.
Okay. So if you want to just take some recaps and just look at some of the big trades that we could really get down to, I think we can narrow it down to just some of the few. Um, Obviously, there's some trades that we definitely will talk about because they have to do with the Mets and Yankees.
Of course.
We could talk about the Mets selling, so let's start with that. So, I mean, obviously, the first move I say they made that I could remember was when they traded David Peterson away. And he's actually been pitching pretty good. He pitched pretty well against the Yankees on Saturday night.
Hmm.
So I mean, I guess we were the problem. Um, AJ Minter was traded a few days afterwards to the Twins. Um, Twins are in a wild card spot, or they just were. So they're definitely in a spot to buy, you know. So I think it makes sense logically for both teams. Um, if I can look back into what they got for AJ Minter. For infield prospects, Billy Emick, and we got Benny Adbayati's son. If you don't know who that is Met legend who
Hmm.
played on the 2000 Mets. So, hey, why not? When we traded away Max Scherzer, we got Acuna's brother. I thought it was pretty cool. It's a notable name. So we'll see what happens down the line. I think it's cool that we got a former Mets son.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Um, Another big move that the Mets traded was getting rid of Mets legend Huascar Brazoban. This one sucked, man. Getting rid of Huascar Brazoban to the Chicago White Sox. Look, when they traded for him actually at the deadline 2 years ago, in the 2024 season, when for the Marlins, and he actually wasn't that good in 2024 when they traded for him, but he ended up being really good in 2025, and he was really good in 2026. White Sox will gladly enjoy Brazoban. He's a really good pitcher, really good reliever. Uh, he's tall, big. He can throw the ball hard. He's really clutch. He's good. He's really good in like the sixth, seventh inning. Like he's a very, very reliable pitcher. Like I would say he's one of the more reliable relievers that the Mets have put in tough situations. Speaking of the White Sox, they also got Luis Castillo. Ryan, what are your thoughts on that one?
It was a little interesting when I first heard it. My immediate thought reminded me of 2022 trade deadline, where the Yankees were really interested in trading him from the Reds, and they just didn't make the move. They ended up trading for Frankie Montas instead. So that really didn't work out. It probably wasn't the best decision at the time. Well, no, at the time it probably wasn't. Still today it
It
seems
still
even worse than
isn't.
probably did then.
It's
Um,
anything that has to do with Frankie Montas. It wasn't the right decision. Any
yeah, so
team any team that signed him wasn't the right decision. Any team that had him on that team was not the right decision.
that was we both experienced that. Very interesting. So yeah,
Both,
I
yes, we have
that was
both
my first.
experienced the Frankie Montas experience.
Yeah, so that was my immediate thought. Um, but yeah, I think it's a good trade for the White Sox to make. I really don't know much about the return, so I can't comment on if the trade itself was good. But definitely adding a starter of his caliber is great. We just played them. Their starting rotation, it's not awful, but they don't really. I don't really have like an ace, a guy to lead them, game one starter. So they definitely have that now. So yeah, that's definitely interesting. The Mariners were doing this weird, they were trying to change up their rotation in a weird way. I forget what it was. Um,
Yeah, I mean the Mariners got Nolan Jones, Sir Anthony Dominguez, who used to pitch on the Orioles actually in the Phillies, and Boston Smith. So he is the number 15th White Sox, and now number 14th Mariners prospect.
yeah, that's a pretty good trade for the Mariners too, because they're getting a relief pitcher in return who can help them right now in this season.
Yeah,
So
and Luis
that's
Castillo, like, I feel like he's little overrated. Just a little
for
overrated. Like,
sure, and he's definitely not as good as he was a few years ago.
yeah,
Uh, for the Mariners, he was at the bottom of their rotation, but
yeah, and
for a team like the
it's
White
crazy.
Sox,
It's crazy when you think about that because when they traded for him, he was the Reds' best pitcher by far.
yeah, yeah, and the Mariners have been really good at finding and producing great starting pitching. So yeah, they didn't really, I guess, need him that much. They probably already have a four-man rotation, honestly, for the playoffs. So for a team like the White Sox, who's younger, uh, more inexperienced starting pitching, I mean, a lot of these guys probably this is their first full year in the majors, first time trying to make it to the playoffs, win the division, try and go as deep as they can. To add a veteran starting pitcher who's done it multiple times before to lead them is definitely a great move on their part.
Yeah. So, speaking of Mets trades, Freddie Peralta, that was another one. Of course, 5 inning Freddie, 5 innings at Freddie's, whatever nickname you want to give him. He's finally gone. This one feels great. This one, genuinely, this one I will not miss. Freddie Peralta, I've genuinely have not liked this move from the beginning. I never liked it
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning. I never liked it from the beginning. I never thought Freddie Peralta was this some called ace because I've watched him pitch. I saw him pitch. I saw him pitch against the Mets when it mattered a lot in 2024.
Yeah.
He never was like that. And I think we as Met fans did set him up for failure because he already wasn't that good. He sucks. He sucks. He's not good. So because we set him up as this great pitcher, he already looked worse than he already was.
Mm-hmm.
So I on one hand, I do kind of feel bad because we did kind of set him up to make him look even worse than he already was. But on the other hand, he already does suck. He sucks. He's not good. So,
Yeah.
and
I mean, I wouldn't say he sucks. This year, he's definitely having a terrible year. Before this year, he wasn't a bad starting pitcher.
he
Yeah,
wasn't a
the
yeah
Mets,
yeah yeah.
we've talked about it multiple times. The Mets trading for him as an ace wasn't a smart move. If they were trading for him as their 2 or 3 starter, that would have made more sense.
We were trading for him to be our number one starter.
Yes, and that was the issue. We've talked about that so many times. We both agreed on that. It's just really
It was always
not
a
a smart move.
stupid move. We traded Brandon Sproat, and yeah, Brandon Sproat's been pretty bad this year for the Brewers, but he's also in his second year, and
Hmm.
he played barely any Major League Baseball for the Mets last year. And Jet Williams is very good, and we could use him probably because Simeon's old, so he's only going to be our second baseman for so long. And I honestly don't know if Mark Vientos is going to work out. I don't know if Brett Beatty's going to work out, and I don't know if Ronnie Mauricio is going to work out. We haven't seen Ronnie Mauricio play on the team in a while, so I don't know. It doesn't. The trade was terrible. It never made sense. I don't. It just was another terrible, terrible Brewer to Met transition. The only one that really worked since David Stearns took over. Trying to really think. Was Tyrone Taylor. I'm trying to think because Tyrone Taylor was from the Brewers to the Mets. There were probably other relievers I'm probably forgetting, but like those are the two big guys that were from David Stearns brought up, and he traded for because he traded for Montas when he was on the Brewers, and then they got him as a free agent to the Mets. Those two transactions from the Brewers to the Mets that Stearns did because he liked them when he was on the Brewers were terrible moves. And I am kind of repeating myself, but honestly, at least he's gone. And I could only hope these 4 prospects, at least one of these guys, do something because I feel like we gave up guys who I think will be good for a guy who isn't that good.
Yeah, you look at it this way. We were talking about quantity over quality before, or quality over quantity, whichever you prefer. Um, in a way, if you look at it, you traded who you traded to the Brewers, got Peralta, trading away Peralta, and now you're getting 4 names back from the Rays. So you're basically traded 2 guys or 4 guys for your future when it comes to younger players. Hopefully, yeah, one of those guys can become the prospects that you traded away, or even become great major leaguers. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I like the mix of prospects. I had a pitcher in that trade. They had an infielder in that trade. I like the mix of players. Yeah, man. I mean, and the Rays have had a really good farm system in the past, so it could be good. It definitely could be good.
yeah, and of course that trade is at some point going to hurt the Yankees probably, because I'm sure he'll make a start against us, and so we have a 4-game series left against Tampa, and of course the Tampa Bay Rays are going to fix him up, and he'll look like an ace.
Look,
That's how they
hear me
always do
out. Hear
things.
me out. They're gonna fix him up because Tampa always has good pitchers, but then he's gonna remember what it was like to play in New York again or pitch in New York again, and then drop the ball.
Let's hope. But I was so yeah. I mean, I like the trade for Tampa. Did not look into the prospects they traded away, but I can't imagine it was any huge names at this point. So let's just hope for the Mets' sake they progress. But anyway, it's to me it seemed like the Brewers were a good spot for him to go back to because he's comfortable there. They were looking for a starting pitcher. It seems like that could be a possibility, but it felt like at the same time there was no chance because, to be honest, that would be pretty humiliating for the Mets to trade him back and get a return probably significantly worse than they traded to originally acquire him.
Correct. Correct. I think it would have been hilarious if we got Brandon Sprout and Jet Williams back. I think that actually would have been fair.
Mm,
But Probably wasn't gonna happen. You know what? It's I. But hey, I at least we got something for him. I'm honestly surprised we got something for him. I'll be more surprised if we get something from Senga. When I heard that the Padres were checking on him, I was genuinely like hoping that I honestly, if we got a bag of chips, some baseball cards, maybe some Cracker Jacks for Kodai Senga, I'd be surprised that we even got something for him.
Yeah.
Because man,
Um.
that guy is ass. He sucks.
Yeah. He didn't have a win this year, which is insane to think about at this point.
Yeah, dude, he just like it's. I can't believe how bad he was so good in 2023 too, man. I remember watching him pitch in Boston in Fenway, and he pitched pretty good. There was a rain delay, so he didn't get to finish his start. But in the few innings he pitched really, really good, man. It's incredible to see what the hell has happened in between these 3 years from that start and now. Like it's incredible what has happened to him. Like I I don't know what it was with like I don't know if it's the injuries and he just like he couldn't come back from his injuries and he just forgot how to pitch. And, like I don't know. Sean Manaea started pitching better and it looks like he's finally starting to come back and starting to bring back his form that he had 2 years ago. But it took him 2 years. It took him basically 2 years to get back to that almost even close to that level he was at. I can't see Senga even getting back to that point right now with everything going on with him. He's so bad. I can't put it in any other way. Like I don't get it. Like how do you throw the baseball and every time you throw the baseball, it just like it goes out of the ballpark.
Yeah, he's definitely having one of the seasons of all time. Um. So
Like, I genuinely, I'm laughing because I genuinely can't like think of why he's bad. Like he throws the ball and it goes outside the like and then the go like everybody got used to his ghost fork pitch, so like no one falls for it no more. So like it sucks, bro. Like they made it such a big deal. It's like, oh, and we got a Japanese guy, like all these Japanese pitchers and all these Japanese players are coming and they're all so good. And then we get a Japanese player and then and we get him and he's not good. Okay. 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 Oh man.
yeah, I mean, he's not even a name that the Mets can look at trying to trade because I genuinely don't see why anybody would want to waste their time even talking about what a return for him would even be.
Yeah, like what could we possibly get for him? Like and his contract sucks, dude. His contract is terrible. Like I honestly like they need to trade him just so they could like get a team to like eat some of the contract.
Hmm.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if they trade him just so they could get rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the return would be. I mean, the Mets maybe could eat some of the contract and get like a lower end prospect or two. I really don't know who would. I mean, there's got to be a team out there who would like to take a chance on him. A team on the verge of a wild card who thinks they can maybe fix him up a little bit and they'll have a somewhat major league caliber starter down the road. But uh, definitely interesting name to talk about now. But the Mets do have some other names that they can look to trade away who are rentals.
Yes, especially my glorious king Tyrone Taylor. Tyrone Taylor has been playing very well recently. Um, this guy's he's been he's like he's Tyrone Taylor, bro.
Yep.
Like He's that good. Like I wish I could find the tweet that's all his stats, but his last like 7 games he's batting like 300. He's had more home runs this year and in this span than he has had all of 2024 and 2025 with the Mets.
It's pretty impressive. And
Yeah,
of course,
the fact that
The Yankees let him start that hot streak.
no, because this is his last 7 games, so
Oh, I thought you meant like this season, like in total over the last seasons.
well, it's funny because we had a friend and yeah, you know the Tyrone Taylor inside joke,
Of
right?
course, yeah, of course.
Okay, so the fact that he was so bad this season, and like I remember my friend did not want him back at all. Like they his yeah like his dad hated Tyrone Taylor, like just like hated him because he was center field was such a problem with the Mets last year, and they literally were putting anybody at center field, and Tyrone Taylor was pretty much their only best bet, and he was hitting like 190. So he became like a meme last year. So when they brought him back, it was pretty funny. And the fact that he's actually turned out to this ended up being probably be his best season with the Mets. I mean, could you ever write a better script? I'm gonna miss Tyrone Taylor a lot. But honestly, he's one of those guys where he could probably fit on almost any team.
Yeah, definitely a guy who you'd love at the bottom of your order or off the bench, in a playoff series or just down the road. So yeah, it's definitely a name that a lot of teams probably are going after. Not top of their list, but definitely somebody who will help. I mean, a lot of these teams who go deep into playoffs always have a guy like that off the bench who's electric, got some speed, can do what it takes to help the team out. So yeah, I mean, you look at names of the past like Tim LeCastro, Yankees and Mets legend. I feel like he kind of fits the same player build. So that's the kind of thing we can look out for.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So we can get so now that we've talked about some of the Mets trades, I think that's pretty much we did talk about Francisco Alvarez a little bit in trades. I don't think he'll get traded. I think Luis Robert the Mets are trying to trade him, but I don't think they will, honestly, because I don't think teams want his contract. He's getting paid. I want to say he's getting paid around 24 million.
Hmm.
And actually, let me just look up his contract because there's a big reason why they're not. I think the biggest reason why he hasn't gotten traded yet is because of his contract. Personally, I don't want him traded because he still has the potential to be really good. Like he could still hit the hell out of a baseball. But he is always hurt. And he's been hurt all of this year, which is why they're looking to trade him. But he has a salary base of 20 million inherited by the Mets following a January 2026 trade, including a 20 million club option for 2027, featuring a $2 million buyout.
Hmm.
So they do want to trade him. They don't want to eat his contract. And I don't think they're gonna. It's a club option, so I don't think they're gonna pick that up.
Yeah, the Mets could always make a trade where they try and eat some of the money, but you got to just consider if it's even worth it. Um, it could be, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I like Luis Robert. I think they do have their center fielder of the future. At least I think they have their center fielder of the future. So it doesn't make sense to keep him for a potential season that 2020 potential 2027 season. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, I well, they might just have to bite the bullet and just keep him on the team until the season ends. But that's the biggest thing about Robert. I think Robert has the potential to be a really, really good player. I really do like him a lot, but if he can't stay healthy, if you can't stay healthy, then you're not going to play.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's a huge ability. You know, people say the best ability is availability. So if you're not on the field, it doesn't matter how good you are if you're not helping your team. So, um, yeah, that's definitely part of it. But I am seeing that it looks like the Mets are looking to try and trade him before the deadline. Some teams are interested. So, that's
Yeah,
something maybe interesting to see what pops up.
I think he's he could be a potential good pickup, especially if you're not eating the entire contract. Um, because I mean you're only gonna have him for half a season. You
Hmm.
don't have to pick up his option, and he could hit the hell out of a baseball. He could definitely be like a contender. Could definitely use a bat like him, even if it's off the bench.
Yeah. Um, I don't really see the Yankees and the Mets making a deal this deadline. Of course, it could happen, but he would be a name that I feel like the Yankees would be interested in solely just based off the fact that they are looking for a right-handed bat and a right-handed outfielder in specific and a right-handed catcher. But of course, that's not what he is. So um, that is something I guess we could talk about or look at, but I don't think that's likely.
No,
No.
but the Yankees did make a move.
I made two moves actually. One was an addition, one was a subtraction, but they both help out the team significantly. So the first move that the team did make was got rid of Camille Doval, touching on it a little bit earlier, traded him to the Pittsburgh Pirates. They got back two prospects, catcher Omar Alfonso and an outfielder Luis Cruz. Alfonso was in the top 20 prospects for the Pirates. Luis Cruz, I believe he's 18, so he's not a ranked prospect yet. Um, but yeah, that was definitely good on the Yankees' part. You're clearing up a roster spot, a 40-man spot. Um, he didn't work out here. The Yankees traded for him last deadline. We've seen him do great stuff with the Giants before he became a Yankee. It really just did not work out here. He really just could not control the baseball too well. Some guys just aren't built aren't built for New York. We've seen that. Dev
We have
Williams, the most recent
we,
examples. It's usually closers, especially with the Yankees.
we
As of
have
recent.
seen that with so many fucking players, man. I hate to bring out the F word, bro, but we have seen that with so many players on both teams, bro. Ryan Helsley could not pitch for the Mets, bro. That
Yeah,
guy
so
could.
whether that's, Helsley could be the same thing because whether it's an issue of they can't pitch in New York or in these two pitchers' cases we just mentioned, it could be that, they're used to being closers. So if they're not the designated closer on a team, that could throw them off a little bit, change their mindset. Um, as a professional Major League Baseball player, I think it's obviously everyone, no matter what level you're at anything, the mental game's a part of it. But I just feel like it's hard to see a Major League Baseball player not pitch well just because he's not the closer. But nonetheless, it just didn't work out. So I guess wish him the best in Pittsburgh. He did give up a home run his first outing, which was quite interesting. But yeah, so that saved them a roster spot, a 40-man spot. That roster spot was replaced by Giovanni Cruz, who finally got another chance with the team. Did not pitch the two games he was here before he was traded. The next trade that the Yankees made was with the Washington Nationals for Luis Garcia Jr., who I like a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's a really great move for the Yankees. The return was four right-handed pitchers. Um, Giovanni Cruz, who I just mentioned, Jake Bird, who I mentioned earlier, who was also added with Doval at last year's deadline. Another guy just did not work out. Could be the same situation. Um, so he's on his way. out as well. Another 40-man spot. That's two 40-man roster spots in this trade. Um, so yeah, Bird was on the mound in AAA when he was traded. By the way, that was a pretty interesting clip to see. The manager came out to take him out of the game and let him know that he had just been traded. So that was pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's pretty rare that that happens. I mean, sometimes players are playing defense and they have to come out when they're traded, but to be on the mound pitching is a different story. Anyway, two other names traded were Jack Siebert and Benny Grable, who both were uh, minor league prospects for the Yankees. Watched them pitch in person a little bit. Uh, Not too much to say about them, though. So yeah, they did get Luis Garcia Jr. Um, and he's a lefty first baseman DH. So at first, it might not seem like he fits this team too well because we already have that, and he's our current best hitter, Ben Rice. And we also have another first baseman DH in Paul Goldschmidt, and then we have Giancarlo Stanton coming back. We have too many lefties right now, so there's a lot of reasons why that trade off the bat doesn't seem like the brightest. But I mean, when you look at this guy's numbers, not only his numbers on the season, there's underlying metrics as well. It's a great addition. Even if he's riding the bench in October, which could be a situation, he's great for now. I'm sure they'll use him as a platoon bat with Paul Goldschmidt while we're dealing with all the injuries for the rest of this month. So it'll probably
Yeah,
be
they're,
Ben
they're gonna
Rice.
be platooning with Goldschmidt, right?
It'll probably be that Ben Rice will be in the lineup every day, and then depending on if it's a righty or a lefty on the mound, they'll just platoon Garcia and Goldschmidt at DH first base, whichever position's available. So, but yeah, I mean yeah, like I said, his numbers are pretty good. First right-handed pitchers in specific, who the Yankees have struggled with very much recently. He has a 290 average with 20 doubles and 20 homers. So that's pretty good addition, of course. And the third highest slugging percentage in all of baseball behind Yordan Alvarez and Ben Rice. So I didn't know he was having that great of a year, to be honest. I looked more into him. But he was on my list. I did have a list of players the other day who I wanted to talk about as possible additions for the Yankees, but at this point, they're either ruled out, been traded, or in Garcia's case, traded to the Yankees. So that one worked out a little bit. But yeah, I think it's a smart move for the Yankees. They didn't really lose much. Um, I think only one top 30 prospect, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, I think it's a good move for the team. But that's the only addition they've made. They definitely have to do some more for the 6 p.m. deadline. Uh, we can talk about what we want our teams to do in a little bit, I guess. But yeah, for now that wraps up what the Yankees have done so far. So we can talk more about some other trades that have gone down around the league. We can talk about some game recaps because
Yeah,
it's actually been a
bro.
little bit.
Yeah, because I mean, we did miss out on a series. We did miss out on the Yankees White Sox series, and we did miss out on the other Mets series as well. But it wasn't like we didn't really miss anything. Like we didn't really miss anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about. I believe I got Game One of the White Sox series in the last episode. Um, no one really wants to hear about that series, but I guess we can do it anyway. And then there's the Cubs series.
It was.
The biggest news right now
Yeah,
is the trades, of course.
yeah. I mean, so much stuff has happened since. So I think we have to look at it like that because the thing is that a lot has happened but at the time it was a bad loss. It felt like a series loss for the Yankees because both games lost definitely should have been wins if we're being honest.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Mets last series was what I mean it's so much has happened, so I do apologize. But the last series was against the Braves that they won. And they actually played really well against the Mets won both their series this year. Um against the Braves at home, and they also, after the second win, had a positive record against the National League East.
it's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, when you consider how bad they've been and how good they've been, the 1 year they're bad, they want to play good against the Braves, and they want to play good against the Marlins.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. For the Yankees, they're like you said, there was a series split with the White Sox. They just won a series at the Cubs, so that's a 6-4 road trip, including the Philly series from earlier. Um, that's not a terrible road trip. Uh, it's just when you look at it, there it really easily could have been an 8-2 or at least a 7-3. Um, yeah, those two games at White Sox were definitely very winnable in extras. Full strength Yankees team, no doubt in my mind. They win that game. Just a thought of Cody Bellinger and Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton coming up in the order behind the guys who were high up in our order. We're going to be lower in the order at that point. Yeah, the Yankees definitely take that game at full strength, but of course it's not what we're dealing with. Injuries happen. Uh, Even the lineup that they have, they still could have and should have won that game. They left so many runners in scoring position even before extra innings. Um, there was just some interesting pitching in extras. They almost ran out of pitchers in the first extra inning game. Ryan Yarbrough came out. I felt like if that game kept going on, I think second pitch he gave up a walk off after the Yankees failed to score in the top of the inning with the ghost runner. But yeah, I
come
felt like he
on,
was going to keep going
Yankees.
for innings.
They got to lock
So
in.
yeah, they definitely could have won that game. Um, there was the Ali Sanchez throw. I'm not sure if you saw that. Really questionable decision. I mean, I can't even say the decision's that questionable. It's just the guy. If he would have got the so it was a snap throw to third. If he would have gotten the runner, the Yankees would have won. Would have been third out. But instead, he threw it into left field, and the runner scored. So it was just really interesting. It felt like a really rough way to lose that game. Um, but yeah, we don't want to talk about that because today's trade deadline. Better stuff going on. We won a series against the Cubs. Spencer Jones is hot. He hit 2 homers in that series against the Cubs.
Before we talk about the series, it's not every year the Yankees get to play at Wrigley Field, right?
Yes, for sure.
Just before we even get into that, I just want to talk about how awesome Wrigley Field is. Because Wrigley Field is so awesome, bro. I hope one day you go because Wrigley Field and see like a series, see your team play at Wrigley Field because Wrigley Field is one of the best baseball experiences ever.
Yeah, and it's not often that the Yankees play both Chicago teams in Chicago back to back. So I was actually looking at going to this series, but a lot of things got in the way. It didn't happen. But yeah, definitely want to go to Wrigley one day, especially when the Yankees are there. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
man.
I mean, I know it's a beautiful stadium.
Yeah, dude. I when I went back in 22, it's just one of the best like baseball like experiences. Like truly like a true baseball experience. It genuinely feels like you're like in a time machine.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, it definitely has, even on TV, just the vibe of a old-fashioned baseball stadium, which it is. The ivy walls, of course, just old-looking scoreboards. Yeah, it's really nice view. Definitely will love to see it in person one day. I'm sure I will whenever the time comes. Um, yeah, the Yankees did win that series though. Um, Not really too much to talk about, to be honest with you, but they won the first game. Score of 2-1. Warren had a pretty solid start. There's also a trade proposal that I saw that involves Warren possibly going to the Cubs, which is quite interesting, considering he shut them down for 6 2/3 inning with 7 strikeouts, no walks. Amed Rosario hit a homer. Spencer Jones hit a homer. Uh, Blackburn came in, inning and a third, 3 strikeouts. Bednar got his 23rd save, so they won 2-0. They lost the second game 5-2. Max Fried gave 1 run through 5 1/3 on a wild pitch. Caballero hit an RBI single. Spencer Jones hit his fifth home run. And then the bullpen gave up the game in the seventh. They gave up 3 runs, one in the eighth. And then game three, they won, scored 2-1. That was a Garrett Cole start. He went 5 2/3, giving up 1 earned run. Jose Caballero, 2-run home run, won it. Bullpen only gave up 1 run throughout the rest of the game. Actually, no, I think Cole gave up the 1 run. Bullpen was strong the rest of the game, so that was that series. Definitely looking forward to returning home after a 3 series road trip against the Cardinals tonight. Cam Slittler on the mound. Hopefully, Luis Garcia Jr. should be in the lineup. I don't see why he wouldn't be. The trade was official yesterday, so that's gonna be exciting to see. And yeah, I mean, we got about 4 hours left until the trade deadline. Things are still down since we started, which is pretty hilarious. That things were just going crazy. We wanted to get this started, and it's been 55 minutes, and nothing has happened besides the Red Sox and Orioles inching closer to the trade for Adley Rutschman.
Yeah, it was started to break down just a little bit before we started recording. It hasn't been confirmed yet, so I'm not sure how long we'll stay on, and maybe it'll happen. Maybe we could go back on live on later and see what happens.
Yeah, that's something we
But,
can do. Yeah,
but
we can do a recap tonight or tomorrow morning about everything that did happen in the last hour. Maybe we can hop on for the last half hour or something, see what goes on. But
yeah,
uh,
last two things I really want to talk about is first thing is a little bit about the Mets series. I won't talk too much about the Mets series. Uh they lost the second home series, so they lost two series and won one series in their homestand. So it lost 3 out of 4 against the Marlins on Saturday. I guess big shout outs to Zach Thornton for finally dropping a stinker. Eventually he was going to regress, I guess. Rookie pitchers, they're going to be a
mm,
little shaky unless you're,
yeah, of course.
Unless you're Schlittler or Nolan McLean. So, but one thing I will really notice, not tenant, is that Saturday they did a 40th anniversary celebration of the 1986 championship Mets, and they brought back the 80s jerseys that they wore during that decade, because there's just something so 80s about those jerseys,
Yeah,
right?
they're really nice.
Yeah,
I did see the pictures. It looks really good.
yeah, it was cool. They in 2016 actually they had them for the 30th anniversary. They had them wear those jerseys the entire year. Like they weren't like the main home jerseys, but they were like alternates. So,
Hmm.
but my point, here's my point and why I'm bringing this up. I saw someone talk about how it was really empty for the 40th anniversary of the Mets for this championship team, and a big reason is because they're bad. But someone replied to the comment, and it really put in perspective that we've really gotten to a point. The reply to the comment was this: the reason why nobody's here is because it's been so long that meth fans that current meth fans can't even remember 1986. The average meth fan, unless you are not my dad or people my dad's age, so people who are either 50 or older, will remember 1986.
It's a long time, man.
Yeah, yeah, man. I just want. It made me sad because it really made me realize just how long it's been since we've won. Like the fact that because like I hear about 86 all the time because my dad. The reason why my dad is a Mets fan is, well, he went to his first Mets game in '85, but he became a Mets fan because of the '86 team. So I hear about it all the time. But the fact that we still have to hear about it, the fact that that's our most recent championship, but the fact that we still have to hear we're starting to hear the fact that 1986 is starting to become like a folk tale, kind of like the Cubs teams from like 1910, or like the Red Sox teams before they won in '04. The fact that they're starting to sound like folk tales now is kind of concerning me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. A good way to look at it. Yeah, the Mets, big market team, spend money. It's really interesting to just see the way that the franchise has gone since then. Of course, you just compare them to the Cubs and the Red Sox, who were also, big market teams. But
They were
yeah,
teams who went on droughts, and the Mets are starting to get up there. They're starting to get up there on the droughts, on longest runs without a championship. Pretty sure the Mets are. I think the Mets are on. Are they top five? I think they are there. I think they're there. They might be there at this point.
they could be. There's a lot of teams that haven't even won yet, but the Mets could be top five. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're talking about droughts.
So in between each championship, not no championship throughout your whole career, your
Yeah,
whole
so
history.
if I go to longest World Series title droughts, Cleveland is number one. And then after that, it's the Orioles, the Tigers, and then the Mets. So we're number 4 on on longest droughts.
Yeah,
We're getting there,
that's
bro.
number 4 on a list is usually good. Not this one. You don't want number 4 on this list.
Yeah, man. It's the fact that it's been 40 years, like 40 sounds like a big number. Like 30 doesn't sound too big. Like a 30-year drought doesn't feel like it's long, but it's not like it doesn't feel as terrible as a 40-year one, bro. But like it really puts me in it. I feel like this anniversary and this realization that like it's been this long since they've won a championship, it definitely is starting to worry me. Like I really just hope we don't become like another Chicago Cubs or like Red Sox where we just go on like a long drought.
Yeah, of course. Um, it's hard to believe it goes that long, but I mean, yeah, it's happened. So who knows? But I guess we'll switch it up a little bit if you're all right with that, because Luke just pointed out in the chat, and I noticed while you were talking about the Mets, 2 trades just happened, which is hilarious. This whole time nothing happens, and as we're wrapping up, 2 things happen. But
Oh, I didn't
yeah,
even
so
realize there was a chat.
yeah, Robbie Ray is going to the Padres, or I don't think that one's finalized yet. I think they're really close though. And Liam
Oh
Hicks, a
no,
catcher going to the Rays.
no!
Uh-oh.
No. Okay, it's not real. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real.
Dude,
It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real.
what could you possibly have just seen to give that reaction?
Jacob DeGrom to Atlanta.
Oh, dude, that would be pretty bad for Mets fans.
God, okay, it's
The
from.
only thing worse
I
would
don't know who
probably be
this
Philly.
guy is. He's not. He's not a real source. From Scott Hughes.
But
Wait, is
real
it? No,
trades.
don't tell me it's real. I don't. Is it real? It's not
No,
real.
I don't think so. I haven't seen anything about that. That would
It,
be pretty big.
it can't be real. No, it's not real.
No, there's no way. Yeah. So what did happen is Robbie Ray to the Padres. Uh, I mean, he's not the Cy Young Robbie Ray anymore, but he's still solid addition to their rotation. And uh, catcher first baseman William Hicks going to the Rays. I don't know much about him, to be honest. I'm gonna take a guess. He's a very high contact bat to ball guy. He doesn't strike out a lot. He's probably fast for a catcher first baseman. That's my guess. It's the kind of guy I know the Rays are gonna go for.
Yeah, Liam Hicks. I mean, I don't recognize the name. I can't say, which is weird because he plays for the Marlins. But I
Marlins,
mean,
yeah.
he doesn't really got to travel too far.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm gonna look him up right now because I know him right probably. Um
Did you hear the report that Luis Heel and Anthony Volpe just got traded for Mason Miller?
no, I didn't see that report, and that's definitely not enough for Mason Miller, so I highly doubt that's true. Um
Yeah, because it came from Luke. So if it's from Luke, that definitely means it's true.
Liam Hicks is, yeah. I mean, I was kind of right. He's not fast. I should have realized that catcher first baseman. I mean, I kind of said for catcher first baseman, but he's still not fast. Sprint speed's not that great. His catching defense isn't the best either, but his squared up percentage, his chase percentage, his whiff percentage, and his strikeout percentage are all amazing, of course. So that's exactly the kind of guy the Rays
Okay,
have their whole lineup.
John Heyman just reported Braves checked on Jacob deGrom. Rangers listing on everyone. Unknown what chances are. Okay, that's a more like legit source.
I mean, the Rangers.
Dude,
The
we need to
Rangers
get
are
back on.
buying though,
If
so
we
unless they have
get
a
that,
package that blows them away, I don't see them doing that.
it makes sense to do too because he's getting older. He's an older pitcher, and his contract is huge. So like, if you're like, I think it makes sense to give him up. Like it's the same concept as getting rid of Simeon. Like Simeon's still decent, but his contract is still he's noticeably declined from when he first signed that contract to now. So the contract is not as good as it looks at the beginning because he's not the player that he was at the beginning of the contract, right? So
Yeah,
you trade him. If you trade DeGrom, it makes sense. It logically makes sense to trade him.
yeah, I think that's a fair argument, but you also have to look at it. After this 2023 World Series win, and then the fact that the Rangers had a rough last few years, and they're in a playoff spot right now. I mean, Jacob deGrom's a guy who can, he's not, yeah, like you said, definitely not the pitcher he used to be, but he's still a pretty solid starter to have down the stretch and into the postseason. I mean, I can't really say he's done it before, but he's a veteran. He's definitely gonna play a big part in anything that they would do. So, yeah, it would be interesting to see if he does get dealt. But uh, the trade deadline ends at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight, so we got
Yeah,
about 4 more hours.
and I'm starting to notice just how many teams are starting to trade in division.
Yeah, that's true. And I was wrong. The Rangers don't have a playoff spot. They're a game and a half out, but I'm pretty sure they're somewhat buying. So I
Dude,
think it'd be
swear to God, if
interesting. And I feel
Jacob
like if they
DeGrom is a fucking Brave, we might have to stop the podcast.
do you know if the Braves desperately need starting pitching?
I don't know, actually. I mean, they're from watching them the last few days. I mean, I'm trying to think because Strider's hurt. Sale's still there. He's still good. Bryce Elder's not that good. Grant Holmes is not that good. Their rotation is definitely subpar. I like when I'm thinking about the names, their rotation is definitely it could be better.
Yeah, because
Um,
I'm thinking for them to trade DeGrom, if they're actually going for it and buying a little bit, trying to improve, I feel like
yes,
it would take them to trade probably for a few pieces that are going to help their squad right now. I don't know too much about the roster construction of either of those teams, so I can't really make a prediction on it. But that's what I would say. It's probably going to be uh, definitely want some prospects, but you definitely want some players who can help you, try and make a run this year. So I
I
guess that's what they'll do.
I completely forget. So yeah, so like, and a big reason why their rotation is subpar is because I remember Strider was hurt, but Spencer Schwellenbach is hurt as well.
Yeah, Spencer Strider hasn't really been the pitcher he was in the beginning when he was, everyone was talking about him. I feel like every year there's a young starting pitcher who everyone talks about, does great, and then kind of falls off a little bit afterwards. Most recent being Paul Skeens. Of course, he has not fallen off, but this season has not been as great as his first few. And of course, everyone is now talking about Jacob Mizorowski in the National League. So
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, he played last year, but yeah,
yeah, debuted a little bit, but yeah, no, I mean he was throwing heat last year. Everyone was talking about him. Um, let's see what else there is. What else is going on? What else there is to talk about?
but
Um,
the last thing I want to talk about before I have to go is
Yeah.
the on August, I think 11th or the 13th, the Yankees will be having K-pop night against the Seattle Mariners. It's based off of this
Mm,
Netflix K-pop special. So
right.
I just want to hear, what are your thoughts on Yankees having K-pop night?
Um, I really don't care at all, to be honest. I mean,
How does this
it's
affect Aaron Judge's legacy?
uh that's a tough question. I mean, it depends exactly what happens at K-pop night, I guess. But no, I mean yeah, it's whatever. It's definitely a little weird.
If the
But you know,
Yankees
there
win,
are a lot of fans out there, so I guess brings people to the stadium. I guess so. Whatever.
if the Yankees win, will you be approving more K-pop nights in the future?
I don't think that's my decision. But sure, why not? I mean, whatever gets us to World Series. I mean, if we have to adopt a K-pop artist or character or whatever, depending on talking about real artists or movies, whatever it is, if we have to adopt one of those as our mascot, I'm fine with it as long as it brings us a ring.
That's a great way to look at it, man. So,
Um,
with that being
yeah,
said, I think this wraps it up. We talked a lot about the series between the squads, all the trades that have been going on. If anything breaks out, I mean, we could definitely try to find a way to get back on here and talk about it, because there
yeah,
definitely has been a lot going on recently.
yeah, and for the Yankees, just some notes. Just want to sum it up a little bit. So, yeah, added Luis Garcia Jr. It's pretty nice. Cleared up 3 roster spots in this process, but you did lose relievers by doing it, whether they were good or not. Giovanni Cruz, Jake Bird, Camilo Doval. That's 3 40-man spots. One of those will be replaced by Garcia, of course. So that leaves you 2 men short on your 40-man roster going into tonight's game. So they'll hopefully look to keep adding on, add more relievers. I feel like at this point, the deadline's been pretty rough for the Yankees. A lot of things have gone wrong, a lot of names they could have acquired or possibly off the table now or are off the table. Um, so yeah, definitely need a catcher. I guess at this point, the number one target is probably Ryan Jeffers. I know they're looking at like Hunter Goodman as well, if he's going to be traded. So there's that. Um, Hopefully the Adley deal falls through. I highly doubt that's the case. The Yankees said they apparently the reporters the Yankees didn't want to progress in talks because they didn't like his medical report. So I don't know. That seems a little weird. I feel like if another team's trading for him, they must like his report. So I don't really see why that's why another team wouldn't like it. But anyway, yeah. So there's just that. Hopefully we trade for some relievers, a catcher, and maybe some other stuff. That would be pretty nice. But yeah, for now that's it. Hopefully we'll be back on today, tomorrow, at some point to recap everything else that's happened. It's gonna be interesting next 4 hours for sure, though.
Facts.
It's the longest episode yet, too. So that's
Yes.
also another
Yes.
accomplishment.
We kept yapping, bro. And you know what? It's crazy, the world we're living in, that the Mets are trading away our players to the Chicago White Sox. What a world.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, with that being said, we'll see you in the next episode, and we'll talk about the end of the trade deadline and hopefully what happens then. So,
for
that
sure.
being said, this
So
is
for
Ryan,
now, this is Dylan.
and let's go Mets.
Brian Cashman, please wake up and let's go Yankees.